What's up, everyone? My name is Niera of the Super Libra Power. I know it's been a while. I look different. I'm still in the same space for now. I'm not sure if I updated y'all before on what life was like. I don't know. You'll have to tell me by scouring through our past transmissions. But I've been cool. Tending to my health has been a major theme of the entire year. This is not too much of a shock to me, considering that our nodal focus for the year has been a north node in Pisces with this opposite south node in Virgo. Virgo representing the body, health, physicality, mercurial aspects, logic, the way that we think and communicate ideas to one another in tangible, cohesive ways, fact-checking. That has been a theme while getting rid of old, outdated ways of relating in that way, to having this intense, lunar, animalistic maybe desire to embody more faith and feeling, tapping into our feelings more, kind of having to deal with the unknown, and not necessarily having any physical guarantees of the future, but maybe having to somewhat stimulate the emotions that we want to feel for the future. For me, personally, these nodal points occur in my 6th and 12th houses, respectively, if we're dealing with whole sign. And so the nodal point of the north, increasing intensity, hunger, has been stimulating. It's been stimulated in my 6th house of work, of home, of daily routines. This house actually belongs to Virgo, but it's in its opposite sign of Pisces in my chart. So that's like a really fun concoction, don't you think? It's a lot less straightforward. It is it is hazy, it is dreamy. There are no clear-cut answers. And honestly, story of my life, if I'm being completely real with y'all, story of my life, my entire life has been, this is your destiny. This is what you will fulfill in this lifetime, ordained by my parents, my family, my community, projected upon me. This is what you are in this life to do. This is how you fulfill yourself to our family, to our community, to our whatever. And as a kid, I was like, yep, this is it. I'm very eager to fulfill this need. And in the midst of that, being like, wow, why does my life suck still? Why do I wake up in the morning and I don't love myself still? Why do I'm being told I have all this worth, but in a broad sense, I'm being told that I have all this worth. But in my day-to-day interactions, even with people of my own family or my own community, I'm being told, you mean nothing. You have no value. You have no worth unless you fulfill this need. So then it kind of creates this weird, this feedback loop where I'm like, okay, so if I accomplish this thing, I will feel better, right? I do the thing, I still don't feel better. I'm being told I'm not doing it enough. So I keep doing it more and more and more and more and more. But then I still keep getting that feedback loop of it's not enough. It's not enough. You're not enough. We need more. Da 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 da. It's continual. This has been a huge aspect of my life since I was a child. And I honestly really feel like I've had to combat those feelings this year. And now, even now, still, we will have our nodal year of Pisces x Virgo up until, I think, June of next year. I'm sorry, June of this year. I forgot we were in 2026 already. You know, Happy New Year, Merry New Year, all that good stuff. Not yet Chinese New Year. I'm looking forward to it. Side note, sidebar, I was talking to some of my Black friends who are very involved in activism, and they were just like, you ever notice how like all other countries acknowledge the same New Year except for China, except for East Asia, but like all the other countries just follow the Western one? Those are the effects of imperialism and colonization. That is not reflective of diversity. And, you know, in my mind, I'm like, it just, I personally, I personally have some issues. I have some issues with how we all use time, right? We say that time is universal. It's not universal. It's obvious that time isn't universal. Literally across the globe, time happens at different times, you know, like on a clock. Like it's 12 here, but then it's 5 a.m. somewhere else. That kind of inherently shows that we cannot all be on the same, I was going to say the same path, but we're never in the same spot at once, even though like we are also. And that should offer an invitation for diversity and, I don't know, like acceptance, right? Like accepting that like there is literally different timing for everyone. And yeah, this is kind of like what this video is about. It's about timing, right? It's about people's timing. And I am personally acknowledging, and I've always known this about myself, my timing does not line up with everybody else's timing. And I continually find myself having this battle between what is deemed more acceptable as far as timing, you know, what other people's schedules are, what systems at large, how they expect scheduling to be. And, you know, people are still able to get these things done. They have to fight in order to meld into, to fit into these rigid boxes, you know, deemed by, let's just be honest about it, the government, Western government, imperialist government that has, you know, basically given everyone the date time slots that are like appropriate for, you know, people to contribute their worth to society. You follow me? And it's just, but like, I'm just failing to, if I'm being told that this is the right thing to do, why does it not feel right? That's the thing that I'm always asking myself every time. I'm like, why don't it feel right? And I get it sometimes. Like sometimes, you know, feelings can be misleading. That's another thing that I've been contending with this year for myself too. Because if I'm here and I want to get to here, but how I feel here is not reflective of how I will feel later, or, you know, as I'm taking steps toward what it is that I want, whatever it is, but like that those feelings in between me trying to get from A to B are poop, that could be an indication of many factors. It could be an indication of like, well, maybe you don't actually want this thing because this thing could be drawing out of you behaviors and feelings that are non-resonant with the person that you are, or as you know, many, I've heard many readers also say, like, you know, you can't, in order to be who you want to be, the person that you are has to die. And I think, you know, that can also apply. I think it just ultimately depends on your circumstances and some extreme self-reflection and objective evaluation of who you are and what you feel. Now, I will say this. Sometimes I have a very interesting relationship with pleasure and pain. Sometimes when I feel pain, it tells my body that this is a good thing. Because, you know, diamonds are formed under pressure. Diamonds are formed under pressure, right? But if I don't have like the actual full onset capacity to like survive within a moment, just like in order to get to the next because of the pain that I'm experiencing, maybe I need to sacrifice that pain and take this medicine or take a beet or have a spoonful of honey and call it a day. There's I don't know how else to articulate it. I don't know how else to articulate it. Other than that, it's just pain and pleasure thresholds are, I think, I don't know what my suggestion would be to y'all, but I do believe that the key to knowing what your limitations actually are often happen by being shown compassion first. If you're shown compassion, if you already treat yourself with compassion and with grace and with the ability to say take your time or don't take your time, like maybe the compassion you need is to like go forth and believe in yourself. Maybe that's, you know, how your compassion needs to be communicated. If you're treated with those aspects initially, then you'll know when you get to a point in the bridge where you might need to just like stop and rest and reevaluate and reassess before you continue on it. It doesn't mean that stopping does not necessarily mean the end. Taking a break does not mean the end. But, you know, I constantly feel like I am fighting for my life. And, you know, when you feel like you're fighting for your life every day, you're like, I'm trying to save my life. I don't have time to stop. I don't have time to take a beat. I need to become who it is that I need right now so I can get myself out of this situation. Excuse me. And just what I've come to find is that, like, if you want the time will be made. If you want the time, if it is on you, then you will be given the tools. You will find the tools, whatever it is, divine inspiration, somebody talking to you, divine inspiration, you know. It doesn't stop there, obviously, because like now it's time to hit the books, or it's time to like hit those website links, or whatever your online resources that have been fact checked and evaluated. Again, I am imploring you all with Virgo with Virgo being in the South Node of release and this rise of AI and people not fact checking their sources and just believing whatever they say. Again, like Pisces makes you want to believe in anything and everything because it's very feeling based. Your emotions can either be like nurtured or preyed upon. Okay? Like make believe is good and dandy. Sometimes you can make believe your way into the truth. And I think that also is kind of like a representation of how a certain administration is trying to get certain ideas across and, you know, eliminate ever evolving facts that are occurring by multiple sources from multiple societies and multiple cultures that can all come together and say that undeniably this is real, this is what happened, and then they still come out and say like, but this AI video say that it don't. And you're like, but you made that. And that's why it's the truth, because it's coming from my mouth. Like, they're bullying people into believing like a certain thing, like it's a certain very, I'm like trying to like be non-specific, but like I'm being very specific in my head. Spoiler alert, it's very cold and melts under pressure. So see this Virgo South Node releasing transit having occurred all year, and people letting go of critical thinking and fact checking and just wanting to believe like, please believe and also fact check, you know, like there are actual physical constraints, and sometimes those physical constraints are safety, are protection, are, hey, let's take a beat, hey, let's reevaluate. Because if you keep drilling into the ground without a map, okay, if you're just freeballing it, if you're just drilling into a hole and you've done no landscape evaluation of the mass that you were drilling into, you could be drilling into oil, you could be drilling into, I don't know anything about drilling, but something that's important that could cost people their lives. But if you know, not too many of us, not all of us have the opportunity to start however or whenever we want, right? And sometimes we just got to start from where we're at. And sometimes that place isn't pretty. But that doesn't mean we have to move forward in stupidity or blindness or without the ability to just refine what we've already done so far and plan ahead better for our futures. Okay? One thing that I love about astrology, and especially when we evaluate our nodes every year, because they change every year and a half roughly, is that it teaches us duality. Every single year it's duality, you know, like if you are receiving astrological advice from someone and they tell you that North Node is good, South Node is bad, they are lying to you. That's not true. I be seeing posts like, don't get in relationships with people who have your South Node, who have placements in your South Node. I'm like, baby, you gonna meet everybody with that placement at some point. At some point or another, everyone has that in them, including you. Literally including you. You literally have that placement in your chart. It is in you. So that is an attribute that you have. Its placement in your chart just means that it's filtering out in this lifetime. You're going to constantly filter out that particular sign and the attributes of that sign and whatever house that it's in. But it doesn't make it obsolete. It doesn't mean that you avoid it. It doesn't mean that it has no value, it has no worth, or it has no place in your life. It's a perpetual teacher of release, okay? So, yeah. This year has definitely been a year of me trying to coming into balance with my feelings. Not just my emotional feelings. I like to make this distinction when I talk to people, when I give people readings and stuff, because, you know, our feelings are more than just our emotions, you know. If you want to be specific, say your emotions, okay? Like, emotions are like sadness, happiness, you know, like that kind of stuff. But feelings can include emotions, but I think feelings are also sensations too. Like, your stomach hurt, that's a feeling. It's not necessarily an emotion. The emotion that can correspond with your stomach hurting is probably like sadness, is frustration, exhaustion. Those are feelings, emotions that accompany the feeling of having your stomach hurt. Yes, so multiple kinds of feelings for me. I have intuitive feelings, I have psychic feelings, I have emotions. And I'm having to just learn how to traverse through them all, baby. And still manage living life day to day and having a routine, and then my life is not like because I am so artsy fartsy compared to most people, and I am not on a 9 to 5. If I'm on a 9 to 5, it's because I make the 9 to 5, and even then there are times in between that time frame, moments in between that time frame, where I'm not sticking to a strict schedule. You know, I be thinking that I need that in order to really ground myself in the reality of my job or my work or my, outside dedication, right? To my external environment, like this is what I need, and this is what a normal person has, and this is how they're able to commit to their responsibilities day in and day out, because they have a strict schedule and they stay to it, and that's how they survive. And it is a farce. It's a farce. And maybe you listening to this right now or watching this right now are like, Nier, why are you so rigid? Why are you projecting such rigidity on other people? Because my inner world is not rigid. It's not rigid at all. It's everywhere, everything all at once. And it is up to me to like lock that shit down, because I'm like, I don't know how to explain all of this to someone else. I don't know how to actualize it, because I'm still like a human being experiencing feelings, and I have to like put those feelings into action. Like, I really struggle with putting feelings into action. That is hard for me. And like even communicating it alone is like sometimes not enough, obviously. Like, I have all of these feelings. Like, wow, I feel like I could be carried away to do something, but like some of these things I am carried into doing, I don't have enough experience with actually physically doing. So then it's like, well, where do I start? Where do I stop? Sometimes it's not a matter of just stopping when I don't feel good, or, maybe I'm thinking ahead. Like I'm thinking ahead. I'm like, but I have greater ambitions to last longer. Can we last longer? This is a concept that is existing inside of my own head. Let us just continue with, holding this idea in front of my face. If I just keep walking, I can make it. And then I'm like, I'm bored. Or I'm petering out for whatever reason, and then I have to battle all the feelings that come onto me because of that, and then fight those feelings, because I'm like, I'm not trying to feel like booty-ish right now. I'm trying to feel empowered and ready and stable and consistent so that I can make it to my destination. It's not easy. It's not easy, okay? It's not easy. And I imagine that people on the opposite side of the spectrum don't find these parts easy too. And I've been having some really tough conversations with people that I know IRL, where, a lot of you that, follow me or listen to me for whatever reason, I don't know if you're just charmed by me, or if I don't know, there are parts of me that really resonate with parts of you that you've yet to fully explore and flesh out yet. But, I've just had friends who, and please, by all means, get onto me as like the bohemian hippie who doesn't have a sense of responsibility. Some of that's probably true, but I beg to differ. Anyway, I'm going to keep on track so I can get to what I'm trying to say. I've had people in activist spaces who, you know, will still tell me, well, like, the world is still shit and you need to conform because that's just the way things are right now. And I'm just like, but if you don't know how to live it, then how will you ever know? You know, if you're like, I get it. Like, I get, like, you know, just taking a step forward in the direction of, you know, being more socially conscious and aware, and politically aware is enough, you know, like, at least it's a step in the right direction. But I still have bills to pay and I still have all these obligations and da 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 da. Like, I get that. But for someone who ain't ever really had that, and all that I've ever really had was either someone telling me what to do and them holding it over my head and doing it and feeling like shit, or I had my feelings and my unique perspective that those same people will still come back and ask me, what the heck do I do? You know? And yeah, my response to those things are like, how, like, you're saying, how will you know that, I'll give you an example. How will you know, example, I'm being very specific. I'm like, if you are operating within capitalism, which is something that, yes, you arguably have to do, especially depending on the varying levels of commitment you have to your responsibilities in life. Like, that is something that you have to do. But if that's all you've ever done, how will you know that life is not better on the other side of that? If you don't at least try to live it first. That's what I'm saying. If you just wait for the world to be inclusive, accepting of non-capitalistic forms of currency or labor, then how will you know that you're prepared to receive that kind of change in your life? And that's just kind of what I ask everybody who, I guess, questions my life choices. You know, I don't want to make it personal. I'm very insecure about my ego and about being a person, because my personhood separates me drastically from other people, which I've always known ever since I was young. Despite just hearing, oh my gosh, everyone around me is just like, there's not enough harmony, there's not enough unity, people don't want to come together. And me being a child would literally be like, I hear you, I understand you, I will do whatever you say, whatever place you want to put me in, I will do it. You have my loyalty and commitment. I will not let you down. And I can assure you that I probably only let people down probably 90%. Like maybe no, I'm sorry. I didn't let people down. Like my success rate was like 85 to like 95% most of the time, I guess you could say. Like I think that's reasonable. And like, I still got my public ass beat. You know, I still got told that I was worthless. I still got told that, you know, I may not amount to anything, you know? But keep doing what you're doing, though. Like, huh? No. No. I'm supposed to believe in this fantasy world of opportunity when in the one that I currently live in, I can't even feel good. I can't even feel right. What am I waiting for? So I really hate to argue. I really hate to, because, and I also feel like I just sound so irresponsible. And I've been responsible my whole life. My whole life I was made to be responsible. And to now be in a position in my adulthood where I'm very much like Spencer from iCarly. But they have money. They came for money. They have money. They were okay. And then he became like a billionaire. Anyway, that's beside the point. But I can't believe Spencer's a billionaire. We're not going to talk about it, okay? Let's pray that he's not Elon. Because I don't know how. Maybe the writers and subconsciously all of us just wanted to reward him for his very avant-garde contributions to instantaneous combustion. I mean, shoot, like, that really is something that I've yet to see replicated in the art world. But yeah, like, in my family, I'm Spencer. I was not Spencer growing up. I mean, my siblings will probably be really, really nice to me. And I think they're valid in that. I was a warden. I was my siblings' warden. I was my sister's keeper. But not, okay, yeah, in like the nurturing, cute way. But like, I was also very like, I was like the reinforcer, you know what I mean? The reinforcer, keeping things all aligned, all the ducks in a row. You know what I mean? Protecting us from the wrath of the patriarchy in the home. And, you know, having all of this, like, oh, I'm going to be the one to, you know, be really committed, and family's not worried about me. My family's never been worried about me because I was always going to be successful and I didn't need anyone's help. Gee, I wonder where that came from. I guess we thought that if we just burned responsibility into my nerves without consent, without checking in, without, you know, providing space for all of my other confusing, you know, non-compatible emotions around my responsibilities, that, you know, I would still mold myself. I would still be molded into this perfect working machine that has no flaws, because the flaws were my being human. The flaws that I had were me being tired. The flaws that I had were me expressing discontent and exhaustion and feelings of being unappreciated. And that is what I fight every day, even with people in my own spaces, even with people that are on the same side as me. And I have to keep doing it. I do. I don't like it, but I have to, because if we keep making excuses for how the world operates, we will never find alternatives, and we'll never check in with who we are on the inside. Some people can sacrifice that. Some people are actually really good at that. And I'm like, you know what? Kudos. I'm so happy that you found a way for you to survive and just deal with this shit, and you have been rewarded for it. Props. And you use what you've received to also contribute monetarily, financially to, you know, benefit, you know, more cooperative spaces that are against capitalism. But if it comes down to someone like in your day-to-day, and like suddenly you're asking all these questions, and I'm like, I don't know what you want me to say. I don't know what you want me to do. You want me to perform for you? You want me to dance for you? You want me to do a song and dance that'll teach you, like, that'll help you understand me better? That'll, like, I just wonder what it is that, you know, folks are actually looking for when they ask me questions like that. Like, what are you doing? Why don't you have a job? Why can't you keep a job? You know, most of the time when I say that I've lost my job, if I have lost a job recently, there are expressions of, you know, condolences. But when it has been a long time without me having one, then it's, well, where is it? Oh, I see. Like, you are disabled. I'm so sorry. But, like, you should still figure out a way to form and fit yourself into capitalism so you can survive. And I'm like, well, I am, and I have, and it's not anything that you've seen. And I'm sorry if you haven't seen it. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe you have some things you need to figure out, but I don't really need to make my life make any sense to you. But I do. I do it out of the kindness of my own heart, and I do it because I want to survive too. I do. And I think there's a part of, you know, there's an aspect in all of us that wants validation for the decisions that we make and the routes that we choose in this lifetime. And I know there are a lot of people that are working horrible jobs right now that kind of just want to be told, you're doing a good job and this is the right thing. If you just keep going at it, you'll get to that destination. You'll make your mark, you'll leave your mark, no matter what it takes. But if I came up to you and said, this is a farce and you need to quit, then now you're mad at me. But I get it. I completely get it. I get it. You know, people are coming to me saying the same thing. Stop this. You're reading tarot for free sometimes, minimally. I'm like, you don't know what goes all into this. Because capitalism gives you all these lists and rules, and I'm happy that, like, these lists and rules make things easier for your executive function brain to just follow out. But I have questions. I have concerns. If I have to go through several channels to find a solution for this one thing that should have been made easily accessible to me, I'm quitting. I'm not sitting around here waiting for y'all when you pose yourself as being highly established or highly funded, this, that, and the other, but you can't even listen to your employees on the lower scale. You're already telling me that my voice and my concerns don't matter. I'm not going to stay here. I'm not just going to, well, if I just work harder here, then they'll see and appreciate me. And it's so interesting that I say all of this right now, because when I do work conventional jobs within capitalism, right, that's actually contributing to like the capitalistic flow of things. And I don't mean this to say that like if you work a job, you're inherently capitalist. That's not what I mean. I think if you're still trying to make excuses for capitalism and you're not really working against it, then like you are contributing more so to capitalism because you want to uphold it in some way. And then if you're pro-capitalist, or like, no, you could be pro-capitalist and not be a capitalist. Oh God, I can't believe this is what we're getting into. But astrology is politics, my people. And so is tarot, because tarot is life. It's just absorbed and it comes from a different source, from a subconscious, human collective subconscious source, right? But it's still a reflection of human life as we experience it, as I'm experiencing it, because I am human and I am a human being experiencing life in this very interesting and intricate way. And I do be feeling bad about that, but I'm not. At the end of the day, I'm not. Because I was born. For whatever reason, I was born and brought into this world. And I was brought into this world and I failed so many expectations, so many projected expectations of me. I failed at. And I continue to fail at a good portion of them. But if there's anything anyone can say about me, is that I care. Is that I care. And I think that matters a lot. I think what I'm coming to realize is that, like, just because someone is not showing up for you in the way that you may have already anticipated or what you're thinking in your mind doesn't take away from the fact that they care. And it doesn't take away from the fact that they care. Obviously, people are entitled to have very specific ways in which they prefer people to show up for them, obviously. But I do think it's another thing when people say that my actions come from a place of care, right? Like I think when other people are able to say that and confirm that, then, even in the midst of financial or material hardship, like that is something that they can still fall back on. And I don't see how or why that is not something that we as a collective are valuing more of. Because maybe I can't fit the mold. Maybe what you need from me is too rigid. But if you're willing to work with me, I have a lot that I could still offer. There's still more room for me to offer certain things. And if there's not, I'm probably just going to go. You know? I don't want us both to sit here and suffer. I don't want us all to sit here and suffer. You know? And you're not going to get along with everyone. That's how things go. I would like for people to challenge their hopes and beliefs and their actions toward a new future with their pockets, but more than just their pockets. Like, I need people to actively go about changing their minds and how their like internal mental process and inner workings, and how synapses connect to one another. You know, how the functions and things within our brains like talk to each other. Like, that needs to change. And I think there are a lot of people that are dependent upon the systems that we know as we currently know them. Like, there are a lot of us that just rely on that, and we don't have the space to evaluate it in a different way. But I mean, even that I don't think is very true, because if you really want a way out of your situation, then you're not going to solely think within this current means, right? You're not just going to only think of today. You're going to think about tomorrow, and then after that, and 6 months from now, and 10 years from now. And I just believe that it is just so counterproductive to be planning for this economic system and this political system to carry on as we have known it. I think that is very disheartening and defeatist and harmful. So I really just came here to give people an update on where I've been, and you know, I'm hoping to be around more. I'm in the process of moving. You know, it'll be very different. Life is different. Life changes. Life is different. I think if anything, if I can say anything, is that life keeps changing, and that we should embrace those changes. And I say that greatly in part because I often don't have a choice. Like, just gotta keep changing. So if my life changes, but my resolve and my values remain or evolve, you know, they're building off of the things that I already truly believe in, and I think even if my outer reality is not totally beautiful, gorgeous sunshine where everyone is saying kumbaya, I don't think that is inherently a reflection of failure on my part. Sometimes it's just the season. So I hope you all are giving yourselves a season to break, to rest, to revitalize, to reevaluate, to come into union, to come into oneness, to come to a conclusion, whatever it is. I just hope you're fully immersed and ready and present for it. So, yeah, hope to talk to you all soon.